Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our presentation about the Culinary Institute of America at San Antonio. My name is Allison Stapleton, and I serve as the Assistant Director of Admissions. Before we begin, I wanted to go over some housekeeping items for the presentation. This presentation is geared toward our prospective students, but if you are watching and you are an admitted student, please feel free to follow along for helpful information regarding your new school. As the world's premier culinary college and leader in the food and hospitality industry, you can imagine how difficult it is for us not to be able to personally welcome you all to our campus. We cannot wait until we can host you on our stunning campus. For now, we are excited to virtually connect with you all and provide helpful information as you journey through our admissions process. Today, we are joined by our very special guest, Steve Sobajeski, who serves as the Associate Director of Admissions at the Culinary Institute of America. Now, without further ado, let's give a warm round of virtual applause to our presenter, Steve Sobajeski.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. As Allison said, my name is Steve Sobierajski. I'm Associate Director for Admissions for the CIA. And my role as overseeing admissions at the Culinary Institute for San Antonio is to assist with the application process, answer any questions that you have about the application process or admissions, required documents, programs, transfer credits, anything that you could think of. My famous saying, for those who work with me know, is that in admissions, you have to be an expert on everything about the school. So we really like to hear from students with their questions about what we do and how they can become a student at CIA. So I'm going to take everybody through some slides about our school, and we're going to focus exclusively on Texas for today. But first, let me just say welcome and thank you everybody for coming. We have a nice sized group here today, and I really do encourage you, as Allison mentioned, to put your questions into the Q&A so that we can address those after. And if they come up, if questions come up during the presentation, please feel free to put your questions in as we go, and we'll try to get to as many of them as we can afterward. Okay. So to begin, why choose the CIA? It's a good question. Everybody has a lot of options out there. The reason is because we believe that food is life at the CIA. And this motto means, really at its core, that everyone has to eat and food brings people together. We are the oldest culinary college, founded in 1946 in Connecticut by Francis Roth and Catherine Engel, primarily for returning World War II vets. We had plenty of time to cultivate our programs to provide you not only with the best possible training, but also the best experience. We've been doing this for a long time, and we only do one thing at the CIA, and that's food. And we do it very well. The food industry has really grown a lot over the last few decades. It really touches just about every other industry in the world these days. And as you'll see, in education from CIA, the possibilities are really endless. Okay, so let's talk about how we prepare you for your career in the culinary industry, or in the food industry, I should say. Culinary Institute of America is a private, not-for-profit college, and we are dedicated to providing the world's best professional culinary education. So what does not-for-profit mean? Because you might hear that word thrown around a lot, or that phrase. It means that everything you put into the program, you get back from the program. So for example, your tuition ensures that when you get to meat fabrication, everyone's working with their own materials. You're not sharing, cuts of meat. You're not sharing your own personal tools. This means you're funding your own education. So at CIA, we gave you the tools necessary to accomplish whatever your goals are. And so for some unique experiences, let's take a look at the different campuses that we offer. So of course, our campus at San Antonio is what you see in the large photo here. Our campus in Texas is a commuter campus, but it's located right in the heart of the Pearl, which is a really fantastic place. It's a great shopping and dining district. There's some really interesting restaurants there. It's very close, it's right on the Riverwalk. There's a lot of history there, but it's really, really a beautiful place. On the top left is our flagship campus in New York, which opened in 1972. It is our largest campus, but also it is sort of like the hallmark of what the Culinary Institute of America does and is. On the middle left, we have the campus in the campus in California, known as Greystone. It was opened in 1995, and it's in the heart of Napa Valley in St. Helena. This campus really offers exclusive studies. It offers our 2 associate degree programs, so the core programs for the Culinary Institute of America, but of course there's a heavy wine focus, sustainability, and farm to table, and there's about 300 students on that campus at any given time, so it's a really great place. Bottom left is our Culinary Institute of America Singapore campus. Our students in the bachelor's degree program are able to visit this campus to do an Asian cuisine concentration if they'd like. It also provides opportunities for Singaporean residents to obtain their degree with the Culinary Institute of America. So it's not open to students from outside the Singapore citizenry unless you're just doing a semester-long program there. But it is one of the campuses that we count as our overall campus. So slide number 6, let's go ahead. Let's talk about the education that you'll be getting here. So we are globally recognized curriculum, and regardless of what age or where you are in life, we can give you the skills you need to achieve your dreams. I often have conversations with students that say, you know, I already have a bachelor's degree, or I've been in the workforce for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, but culinary has always been my passion. Yes, there is a place for you at CIA. Are you coming directly out of a high school environment? Yes, there is a place for you at CIA. You don't need to have experience to become a student with us. But I always like to tell my students, you should really have an idea of what it is that you'd like to do and why you're interested in working in the culinary industry, because it is fast-paced, it is intense, it gives people a lot of creative outlet, and you want to make sure that it's something that you really love to do. Okay. So at the San Antonio campus, these are the degree programs that we offer. We have our world-class education programs, as we call them. And what is, you know, you hear that a lot. What does world-class mean? World-class means that it is recognized the world over as a quality education program that can teach you how to walk into any kitchen around the world, not only understand the equipment, but the cuisine, and how to work with the tools that are at your disposal and the ingredients that they will be using. Our 2 degree programs are the Baking and Pastry Art degree and our Culinary Arts degree. These are 19 months long, and they include a semester-long internship, as well as a semester working in our restaurant on campus. If you are a baking student, you spend your time doing things like bread, pastries, and desserts, of course. Maybe you have, you know, an ambition to open your own bakery or cafe someday. Maybe you want to go in research and development and ensure that ingredients we're using in the kitchen are safe, or developing, you know, new flavors and new kinds of like desserts for you know, mass production. But if you're, you know, someone who's more culinary inclined, you'll rotate through major culinary classes such as Mediterranean, cuisines of the Americas like Latin and North American and South American. You'll also learn about fabrication, meat fabrication, fish identification and fabrication. You'll also get to work with our faculty very closely, learn the history behind the dishes that you'll be learning about. So lots of different opportunities for students in both of those programs, but they are very specialized, and I want to make that clear. Students ask me a lot of the time, you know, if I'm a culinary student, do I get to do baking as well? There is a crossover class for each group of those students, but it is very specific to one or the other. So as a student, you pick a track and you really do stick with that throughout the program. Okay. Sorry, got ahead of myself there a little bit. The education programs that we offer in New York, I offer this slide because the campus in New York is the only place that we offer our bachelor's degree program. So as a student, if you are interested in doing your bachelor's degree, after you complete your associate degree, you can transfer your programs over, you can transfer your credits over to the New York campus and start a bachelor's degree. It's a seamless process. You need to talk to your advisor about it, but they can give you all the information that you need. This is a very popular choice for students who do the associate degree at either our California or Texas campuses to move to the New York campus when they're done. The degree programs that we offer here are Applied Food Studies, which is a focus on ending food waste, ensuring sustainability, influencing food policy, things like that. I like to call this the social side of food. We also offer a degree in culinary science. So if you want to break down food and understand why it reacts to fire the way it does, or why certain spices can be used to preserve food, if you want to develop new flavor profiles and cooking technologies and work with really cutting edge technology in the kitchen, this is a great program. It's a very high demand career choice right now. Food business management for students who have an entrepreneurial mindset. This program is a Bachelor of Business Administration. All of your coursework focuses on case studies in food businesses, though. So you're learning about marketing, finance, staffing, purchasing, entrepreneurship, and all of those great classes that you would want in a business program, but it's all taught through the lens of food and food industry businesses. We also have a hospitality management degree. If you want to focus on front-facing services and management at hotels, spas, or resorts, this track will help you understand how a large-scale business should run. The great thing about this program is it offers more culinary credits, more time spent in the kitchen than any other bachelor's degree in hospitality. And it also is really designed around the idea of food operations inside a hospitality environment. So if you're someone who's really interested in like large-scale events, like weddings, galas, corporate events and things like that, this is the program that you might be interested in. Okay, also at the next level, we have our programs in California. These are for students that already have a bachelor's degree and want to continue their education. We offer the associate degree at the California campus, but we also offer what's called the Accelerated Culinary Arts Certificate Program, or ACAP, which is designed for students who have a bachelor's and are really serious interested in the culinary field, but are not inclined to take the full course of the associate degree program, which is 19 months. The ACAP program is only 2 semesters long, so it's about 8 months, and it focuses only on hands-on culinary skills. We also offer a master's degree in wine management, which is a really great program for students that are interested in learning about the business of wine and beverage. We have an online bachelor's degree program these days in what's called food business leadership. This program is for students who have already graduated from the CIA and hold an associate's degree. And there has to be a gap of time between your graduation from the associate degree and when you become a student in the bachelor's. But this program is fully online. So if you are a CIA alumni and you're interested, this might be a program for you. And we also offer a master's in food business, which is predominantly online. There are 3 residencies in this program. It's about 90% of it is online, and then there are 3 residencies throughout the 2 years of the program where you get to come to different CIA properties, work with your cohort, meet your faculty and chef instructors in person, and really get into the nuts and bolts of the projects that you'll be working on. The master's degree in food business is largely academic. So it's more about the concepts of food businesses, whether it's restaurant businesses or food products. So for someone who's interested at the master's level, this is a great opportunity also. Okay. Let's talk about the kind of experiential learning that you get. So back to our associate degrees, which I think is where most of our students would be interested in learning more about. Our associate degrees offer more hands-on than any other college. We have academic courses that prepare you for the real world. At Texas, we have our Savor restaurant, which is a really great restaurant concept that it has a sort of dual purpose. So during the day, it's set up like a bakery cafe, and in the evenings, it offers a full service menu with great beverage selections, and it's completely staffed by students and faculty. So it's a really great opportunity. We also have the Dunkin' Donuts Bake Shop. We have the Pop-Up Bakery Cafe, which is inside Savor. And then we have the Kikkoman Live Fire Outdoor Kitchen. Oh, sorry, the slide started to advance without me. So let's move on to the internship, because I know that this is something that students are usually really interested in. So what you're going to see on this slide is really just a small selection of the opportunities that we have. We have about 2,000 sites or 2,500 sites around the world that you can choose from. And the idea here is just to give you an idea of the diversity of the choices that you have. So if you're somebody who's really interested in food media, maybe you'll intern at Food Network. Or if you're someone who's interested in institutional food service and corporate dining, maybe you go to the Google campus in California, right? If you want to work in a very high-end fine dining experience and really get that fine dining, practice working in like a Michelin-rated restaurant, maybe you'd be looking at the Tom Keller Restaurant Group, working at his restaurant in New York or California, or Blue Hill at Stone Barn, something like that. Or if you want to go into hospitality, we have Marriott and Hilton, all these other great brand name hotels. So there's lots of different opportunities there, but the important part is that 100% of the students get this experience. So you will get to do this as a student. And the way that you can find the internship site that works for you is to attend our career fairs that we hold every semester and get to know the recruiters as best as possible. All right, okay. For those of you who already have progressive experience in front and back of the house, there's a great option for students like that who might be interested in trying to waive the internship semester. So if you have more than 2.5 years experience working directly in the food industry, you know, hands-on kitchen front and back of the house, this might be an option for you. And if you'd like to explore that possibility, just reach out to me and I'd be happy to take a look at what your experience and resume looks like and determine if this is a program that is a fit for you. Okay. So at San Antonio, we have a really great small campus life. We have a 15-to-1 student-faculty ratio, which means that you get a lot of one-on-one time or a lot of face time with your chef instructors, and you're not, you know, competing to have your voice heard, but also the quality of the education that you get, coupled with the fact that you're in small class size, just makes it a really great environment for somebody who wants to really get serious about working in the culinary industry. So. Students often ask about what student life is like on campus. We don't like to sugarcoat that we have an intense program that is very, very challenging, but given how busy students get, we like to try to make things fun as well. So we have student clubs like a barbecue club, we have a fermentation club, we have a club called Sugar Rush that our students take part in, and these clubs give students an opportunity to connect over shared interests and goals outside of the classroom. So everybody bonds very quickly at CIA. It's something that we're very proud of. But it also, we like to give students opportunities to do that outside of the classroom. So let's take a look at some events that we've held on campus. So we have some photos of our students at our holiday cookie contest. We have students participating in the farmers market that takes place in the weekend in the Pearl. You know, just some great shots of what it looks like in and around the campus. We have the Paella Challenge here sorry, the slides are advancing faster than I need them to. Some students taking part in a walk on the Riverwalk. We have our holiday party here, of course, with our admissions counselor, Gerardo, in the bottom there, in the ugly sweater contest, which I believe he took the award for that year. So a really great place, lots to see, lots to do, a great environment both in and off campus. And you'll find a lot of really tight-knit faculty and staff there too. You know, it's a small campus, so everybody knows each other very well. All right, so in terms of what your lifelong advantage is to the CIA brand is recognized around the world. We have a very, very strong alumni network, and I'm going to talk about that just a little bit. Okay, we have a couple of career fairs every year for our students. At the San Antonio campus, they happen 3 times a year. We fill up the library with recruiters that are there looking for you to fill positions that they have in their organization. So whether you're seeking a spot for your internship or post-graduation employment, we have people there 3 times a year looking to recruit our students. As you see here, you know, a 50,000 strong alumni. Of course, Johnny Hernandez, one of our famous graduates. He's a Texas CI grad, and he opened La Gloria, which is right next door to the campus for a long time. So here's some other examples of some of our alumni, but you may know some of these people, you may not. The idea is, again, to show you the diversity of the careers that our alumni have. We have Kirsty Bowser, who's the food stylist, Amanda Freitag, the TV personality, Francis Lamb, food writer, Christine Langelier, general manager, restaurateur, Stephen McHugh. You might also recognize food truck pioneer Roy Choi, and if you have ever heard of the organization Blue Apron, the meal delivery service, that Matt Wadiak, who created that. And Chef Mani Chauhan, who's been on a number of different television programs, is a really great TV personality and chef, and a really big advocate for our international students as well. Okay. All right. So when you come to CIA, you'll really be making an investment for life, which is fantastic. And sorry, I got distracted. You'll be making an investment for life. And in fact, according to a recent independent study by Georgetown University, we are #1 in college ROI. Okay, so what does that mean? So if you look at this graph really quick, and I know everybody's, of course, throwing numbers at you and graphs and all kinds of stats and things like that, but just real quick, if you take a look at this, the Georgetown University study put the Culinary Institute of America at the top of what you get back from your a degree granting culinary college. So your return on your investment increases every year that you're out in the workforce, and we see this kind of trajectory here with our graduates because the CIA is a good choice for people that want to go into the food industry. Okay. In terms of financial aid options, we have federal and state aid, CIA scholarships and grants, need and merit-based scholarships, and alumni scholarships. These are all available to you as a student to different levels and extents. I also encourage all of our students, we have an exclusive scholarship for all Texas residents called El Sueño, and this scholarship can assist you with up to half of your tuition every semester. So if you're a Texas resident and you're interested in applying to the CIA, this is something you should definitely take a look at and fill out an application for. It's a need-based scholarship, but it utilizes the information that you would be reporting on your FAFSA. So make sure you submit your FAFSA if you're interested in applying, okay? Of course, being that we opened up in 1946 to help returning World War II GIs, we are proud to say that a lot of the tuition costs are covered by the veterans benefits, if not all of them. So if you are a veteran or a veteran dependent, we do accept the GI Bill. We also are a yellow ribbon school, which means that if your benefits don't meet 100% of your need, the CIA will contribute a portion of the remainder of your balance in order to meet the financial need that you have, okay? We like to support our veterans at the CIA. So once you become a student, we want you to rest assured that you have a phenomenal team at your disposal, people who can help you along the way. So we have your admissions counselor, so me and my team, that's what we're here to do, to help you through the application process. If you are accepted to the CIA, you'll be assigned to an enrollment manager who will help you with getting registered, providing next steps after being admitted, helping you do things like submit your paperwork and select your courses and get your books and all that kind of great stuff, and navigating your student portal. Once you're on campus, your academic and career advisor is here to help you with any of the accommodations you need if you need assistance with your resume or cover letter when you're applying to externship and job sites. We have financial planners who can help you provide your financial aid package and set up payment plans. We also have a great program called CIA Cares, which is a support system in place for students that may need a little more assistance academically. Students can directly request help, and it keeps your advisor in touch with the instructors. We also have a learning strategy center for students located in Library Learning Commons. We can teach you how to learn best. We can teach you how you learn best and help you develop your superior study skills. Okay, so if you're ready to make food your life, this is what the application process looks like. It's pretty simple. 3 easy steps. So number 1, you complete the CIA online application, which is available on our website. We also have our official transcript. We need your official transcripts from high school and or college, depending on your level of education. An essay, short essay component, and a letter of recommendation to the CIA. Now, a question I get a lot about the letter of recommendation is, does it have to be from someone in the food industry? No, it does not. It can be any teacher, employer, or professional colleague that you have worked with. It may not be somebody that you're related to, a personal friend, but it should be somebody that can explain your leadership qualities, your passion for the food industry, or just your abilities as a student or an employee of their organization. Okay, and finally, apply for financial aid using the FAFSA. If you're not familiar with that, please write to me. I'd be happy to explain the FAFSA and where you can find it, and also apply for your El Sueño scholarship. Okay, a little word from a famous CIA alumni named Duff Goldman. You might recognize him. He worked on Food Network. He had a TV show, and he says when you leave here, you have a piece of paper that says you are a graduate of the Culinary Institute of America, and that paper is a passport. So with it, you can work anywhere. I'm sorry, you can go anywhere, eat anywhere, and work anywhere. And I have to say, as one of the international recruiter for CIA, I've traveled all over the world representing the Culinary Institute of America, and the the reputation precedes me everywhere I go. People are always excited to find out that the CIA is in their city. They want to know what's going on at the school. They want to know how they can become part of it. If they work in the food industry, they just feel honored to even sometimes have a visit from someone who works in the CIA. And I am not a chef, and I feel like I have to explain myself in that regard a lot of the time. It's just to say, your food looks wonderful, but I am no expert. I'm just happy that you're happy, and I'm glad that I could be here and talk to you about our school. But it is kind of amazing, the reaction that people have when they find out that the CIA is in their city and they want to learn more. And as a graduate, that's the sort of reaction that you get in working in the food industry. So let us help you. Your life in food starts here. There's a lot to discover, and we're looking really forward to sharing it with you. So thanks for joining us, and stick around because, as I said, we have our Q&A session coming up. We have our students who are here with us who are ready to answer any questions you have. So please go ahead and post your questions to the Q&A, and Allison will get us started with some questions in just a moment. All right, so Allison, I'm going to turn it back over to you, and thanks very much.
Great, thank you so much, Steve, for that extremely helpful information. And again, just as a reminder, you can send us your questions through the Q&A button located at the bottom of your screen. So at this time, I would like to introduce two of our student leaders at the CIA at San Antonio, Miss Maggie McGee, who is a third semester baking and pastry student, and Mr. Brian Ciccoletti, now a second semester culinary arts student. So students, if you could turn on your video and make sure you are not on mute, and let's go ahead and start the questions because they are coming in.
How's it going, everyone?
Hi, Brian. There's Maggie.
Hi. Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yes, very good. So the questions are already coming in, but just wanted to ask, we'll start with Miss Maggie. Why did you choose to attend the CIA? And then Brian, if you could follow up.
Yeah. So I chose the CIA after much thought, it had always been a dream of mine. I learned about it when I was in high school. Just some of the people in the food industry that I had looked up to, finding out information about how they got where they went, how they got to where they were, and what route they took. A common denominator with a lot of people was the Culinary Institute of America. I actually got my bachelor's degree in food science before attending the CIA, and was working in the food industry for a little while, more of an office job, not in the kitchen. And I was just, kept thinking about my dream of going to the CIA. So we ended up moving to San Antonio, and the stars aligned, and I was able to finally go. I never thought it would happen. So yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Brian.
Kind of same thing as Maggie. I went to college in West Virginia originally. I was a college athlete. I didn't really have a passion for anything. I just was into my sport. I was a swimmer in college. I was kind of a late bloomer for food. My first cooking job was actually at Buffalo Wild Wings my last year of college, and I was literally dropping French fries. Then I moved around. I'm originally from Los Gatos, California. It's about 45 minutes south of San Francisco. And I worked at a couple fine dining restaurants, and I thought about for a while, like maybe culinary school. This is something I really like. I'm really passionate about. I was like, culinary school looks like the best route for me. It all determined where. There's a bunch of culinary schools, but why not go to the best one? The CIA. It has great programs, externships. Not a lot of culinary schools offer externship programs. And I think the most important thing is, after my first semester there, the chefs want you to succeed as long as you have the drive, the passion, and you're willing to be there every day, putting 100% into it. So that's why I chose the CIA, because I know it's the best place for me to succeed for my future.
Those are great responses. I have the biggest smile on my face. You just can't see it. So proud of you guys. And Maggie and Brian, since I know you are, Maggie, you're baking and pastry, Brian, culinary arts, and I know several of the students are wondering if you could kind of give us a brief snapshot of what your day, what a day in the life of a CIA student looks like. And maybe each of you could go, because I know each of you have a very different day.
Mhm.
Ryan,
you
go for
first,
it.
you want? Okay, I'll go for it. Well, the culinary classes are usually in the morning. Like they're really early, honestly. They're like at 7 a.m. Like me personally, I'm usually there by 6:30, 6:40, getting everything I need for the day. And we're usually done by noon, so we'll have lunch. So pretty much the day will be getting everything we need, getting all the ingredients for what we need. And the chef will demo what we're going to do. Like, for example, one of my favorite things we did, we made ratatouille. And I was like, oh, ratatouille, like the movie, for example. And I was like, oh, we get to make ratatouille. It was really cool because the chef demos it. And it's kind of like, okay, what I did here, I want you to do the same thing. And the cool thing is, like, the chefs will help you too. Like, if something's going wrong, and like, okay, let me help you adjust your temp. So they'll help you along the way. But I would say a lot of like the culinary classes are self-run. How we did it was we were in groups, for example, groups of 3. So someone, for example, was like a sous chef of the week. So they're making sure, okay, guys, let's make sure we got everything clean. Make sure we got all our ingredients. Someone's like the Santa of the week. I was like, okay, guys, let's make sure we're washing our hands, just like a normal restaurant. So it was pretty much self-run. The chef was there to really just demo the dishes, and we redo the dishes pretty much. And I like that way of learning because it brings you closer with your classmates. Because in the industry, you have to work with the people around you. You're not going to the chef for everything, if that makes sense. I don't know if you guys worked in the industry before, but that's the kind of cool thing about your first semester is like, not really, you're learning the basics, but you're also learning things that are going to apply, not just cooking, just like, you know, managing people, communication, teamwork. So I think that's the most important thing. And that's kind of how my first semester went. It was awesome. I worked, like I said, I worked in the industry for a couple of years before culinary school. And there are a lot of things that I learned my first semester. I didn't learn in the industry over the past, say, 3 years. So I think that was the most important thing I took away from the semester.
What about you, Maggie? What's a day in the life of a baking and pastry student living at the CIA?
Yeah, so I am in the morning block as well. We also have a pastry class a semester behind me that goes in the evenings. I'm in the morning, so we start at 7 on the dot. So they ask you to be there 7:30, 7:45. They want all your stuff out and ready to go. We'll usually start with a small lecture about what it is we're doing that day. Pretty short, usually actually right there in the bake shop, unless it's something a little bit more technical that needs a little more time, then we'll go to a lecture hall or something similar. But most of the time it's in the bake shop, a lecture, and then a demo, as Brian mentioned. Pretty similar as far as that goes. The chef will demo, and usually we have partners. We're partnered with somebody in our class, and every block will change partners. As you get into some more advanced baking and pastry classes, it is individual work. So it just depends, but generally speaking, you mostly work with your partner in tandem to, as Brian mentioned, kind of learn how to work together as well in a kitchen environment. We divvy up the duties. So there's a Sani team, there's a food steward team who's in charge of making sure we have the food, you know, just all collaborating, because it's during that time, it is your kitchen, you're responsible. So they want you to learn how this runs in the real world. So I like that part about it too, because no matter what class you're in, that's always going to be something that you're going to need to put into practice. So we'll have class. We usually will break about 11:30 for lunch. Most of the time we wrap up our production for the day by then. Sometimes if it's a little bit more of a lengthy day, we'll break quick lunch, go back to class to finish and clean up. But most of the time we'll break for lunch, we'll come back around noon, and we'll clean up for the day, wrap up, and we're out of there by 1:30. So in class, a total of 7 or 6:30, depending on if you count getting there a little early, until 1:30. So that's my day on school. Usually I'm involved in the baking and pastry club. So sometimes we'll have events after, usually in the block before the 2 o'clock class starts, we'll have a meeting or something like that. And yeah, that's my day at school.
That's great. You guys make it sound so easy. I think when you're passionate about something, it is. Yeah, when you're passionate about something and it's something that you've wanted to do for so long, then you're just so excited to finally like get there, you know, in that space and learn. And it's a totally different way of learning, right? Because it's fully immersive. And everything you're learning in lecture, and you guys know because you've been to college before coming into a culinary college, at this school, you actually utilize what you're learning in lecture. Isn't it mind-blowing, right? It's like,
it's great. It's really great to hear it, and then within 30 minutes of hearing it, you're doing it. It helps, for me at least, helps with learning. I mean, it's much more tangible.
That's right. It puts that into that long-term memory so you can actually utilize it and pull it out later.
Exactly.
There was a question, it was answered, but I'd love to bring it up. So Brian, do you learn any butchery in class?
Yeah, so I'm gonna be a second semester culinary student. So next semester, the first 6 weeks, we're not actually doing any cooking whatsoever. It's all butchery, pretty much. It's with a different chef that semester. But yes, you do learn butchery. I haven't taken the class yet. Obviously, I'm on my break. But I know we're starting with meats, then we're going to fish. We're breaking down chickens. Yeah, so butchery the first 6 weeks. And then after that, I think it's a class called a la carte, which basically is whatever cuisine we're going to do for that amount of time. And it's going to be a la carte style, small plates, things like that. So yes, you will learn butchery, definitely.
I had to ask that because I knew you were headed into that class, like right, you know.
I'm excited.
Break.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I gotta learn butchery. If I'm gonna commit, I gotta learn some butchery. So I like to fish a lot, so definitely like butchery is definitely up there for me.
And for students who have dietary restrictions or just preferences not to eat meat or, you know, anything, that's not a problem at all. You don't have to taste, but you will be tested on it. So you know, that's not a problem at all, but you still have to take the class. So that was a great question. So as far as the age range of students, what age range do you see at the CIA in San Antonio?
Now you can go first.
Yeah, you know, me going into it, I was expecting, I wasn't sure what to expect because I'm not right out of high school. I went and got my undergrad first. So I'm 27 and was really curious because that was a big question of mine. And honestly, I've seen everywhere from 17, 18 right out of high school to, I mean, 50, you know, 45-year-old, you know, either kind of continuing their education, doing a career change. So there's such a variety. But it's, you would never notice. I mean, everybody meshes and works well together. And I think that's a testament to what you're going to have in the industry too. You have such a variety of people. My class specifically, we range from 18 to about 35 in my specific class. But we all work as a cohesive group. And once you get on that, you're all on the same playing field, you know, once you start. So, yeah.
Great. Yeah, you never know when that culinary bug is going to bite you, but when it doesn't let go. So I know, especially at our branch campuses, we see students, from 17, and I think our oldest student is in their mid-60s. So, and that student is interesting. He's a restaurateur, a very successful restaurateur that's listed in the Michelin Guide as a bit gourmand. He has his the business experience, but he wanted that formal CIA training. He said, I deserve it. You know, I've come all this way and I deserve it. So he's finishing up his externship and go into his 4th semester now. So all walks of life, and you do not need to have food service experience to do well at the CIA. So. I think this student is asking about the internship. They're saying pop-up training, but I know that the internship, externship, potato. If you guys could maybe, I know you guys are preparing to go out on your externship, and if you guys could kind of touch on what area that you guys would like to possibly focus in on, and you know, kind of touch on that. Maggie, I know we both talked offline of this, and I got really excited to see where each of you guys were headed. So I'd love for you guys to be able to talk about that.
Yeah, so I'll be going on my externship up in next summer. Actually, I'm doing it at the end of my program. But I'm been reaching out to places already. It's very exciting. Like Brian mentioned too, that was one of the reasons why I chose CIA over other places, because it's such a great opportunity. And the connections that the CIA has is impeccable. I personally, I was telling you, Allison, on the phone a little bit, but I'm torn right now. I really love R&D. I love to combine my baking and pastry along with my food science, and I would love a career in R&D. But then as I went through my confectionery arts class, I just fell in love with wedding cake design and those really intricate cake details. So right now, I'm applying to both of those. I'm looking at opportunities that will present themselves in both of those areas and see what works best with schedules, and hopefully get an externship in one of those areas to see, okay, maybe this is not for me, or okay, yes, this is exactly what I want to do. So
it's exciting. Brian.
Yeah.
I'm actually in the process of applying. I've been applying for months. Mine will be in January. I haven't heard back from anyone yet, but my list consists of pretty much a majority are Michelin star restaurants, 1 to 2 to up to 3 stars. So like my top 3 are actually back home in San Francisco. I like Altura Creme, 3 Michelin stars. Benu, also 3 Michelin stars. Both those are like top 50 world's best. Another one, it's in my hometown, Los Gatos, it's called Manresa, also 3 Michelin stars. So that's kind of where I'm leaning towards. That's definitely a goal of mine. Is like, doesn't matter which stars, as long as it's fine dining. It's all about going up in the industry. So that's where I'm leaning towards right now, the Michelin scene. What was that?
Or possibly going to Italy, right?
Okay, I hope so. That would be. I mean, I'm Italian, so I feel like I have to make my family
Yeah,
happy.
you got to.
Yeah.
Got to take the opportunity. I've been throwing that around too.
Can you mention what that is?
What was that?
Mention what restaurant that we spoke about in Italy?
Yeah, it is Opus Francescana, Massimo Futtura's restaurant. Great restaurant. It's got awarded best of the best restaurant, consistently top 3, 10 in the world for many years. Italian cuisine, but it's down to like its science. Like one of its famous dishes is 5 layers of Parmigiano Reggiano, which is he ages Parmesan in one dish 5 different ways, and it's just mind blowing. So, so that's the beauty about cooking. You know, it's like mad scientist, like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. If anyone's read that book, it's just insane. So yeah.
I'm so excited for each of you. I'm thrilled. And it's so neat to see how what you start with and the idea that you start when you begin CIA in your journey, and then where you're at in the middle as while you're learning and exposure to new things. It's such a diverse field, and it's ever evolving, and you know, really it's what you make of it. And obviously CIA alum are given lifetime career assistance. So we're very proud of the degree that we're conferring, and of course proud of our students, and you know, they're the leaders of the industry. So Steve, we do have a couple questions about submitting application, transcript, essay. If you could kind of touch on that, that would be great.
Sure. So submitting we call them your supplemental documents, so things that are separate from the application form. Your essay can be uploaded directly to your application. So if you log into the application account that you create on our website, you can upload your essay directly to it. Your transcripts can be sent directly to the campus by your high school or university, depending on your level of education. And usually they do that electronically these days. So they send it through like a service called Parchment or Scribble or something like that, but we can just as easily accept a mailed copy, you know, a hard copy, a paper copy of your transcript. And then what was the last thing? Letter of recommendation. So letter of recommendation is great. If you go into the portal on the website, again, where you filled out your application, there is an option for you to enter in information for your recommender and submit it, and it will automatically send that person an email with a form for them to fill out. They fill out the form, they hit submit, it comes back to us, and it gets uploaded automatically to your application. The other way to do it, of course, is to have your recommender mail us, again, a hard copy of a letter. which can be mailed to the university itself. And if you are, but we also have an option on our website where you can have, there's a form that you can send a link to somebody to fill out, and once they submit it, again, it'll be captured in our operations department and uploaded to your app. So there's lots of different ways. The simplest way is just to go into your application and send it by email to whoever's going to be writing your recommendation letter.
Great. And while we have you, you know, how many students will start an application to the CIA, and you know, there might be some time that passes, and now they, you know, that culinary bug continues to bite them, and they want to, you know, start it again. And you know, how would that work?
So if your application is more than a year old, you will have to submit a new application. But if you, like, for example, let's say you started an application and you wanted to come this fall, and you started it like a few months ago, but for whatever reason, fall wasn't going to work out for you, and now you're looking at January. Chances are you probably don't have to resubmit your application unless it's more than 365 calendar days old. So if you have, and that goes for most of your documents too. The one thing that lasts forever, because once you're done with school, it doesn't change, is your transcript. So if you've submitted a transcript to us, that's something that we can reuse for later applications. But your essay and letter of recommendation will have to be updated if it's over a year old.
Great, thank you so much.
But chances are if you did an account, this is something I should mention, if you created an account on our website, chances are your account is probably still active, even if your application materials are outdated. So you can log in and just start a new application right there.
Great. Thank you. And Maggie and Brian, you guys mentioned, I know, Maggie, you're involved in a club on campus. Can you talk about like what you guys do for fun? I mean, I know you guys cook for fun because you are so food obsessed that usually we have to like drag you out of the kitchens and the bake shops kicking and screaming and like, let's go for a walk, let's hike, let's do this. So what is there to do for fun at the San Antonio campus? I know you're right, it's smack dab in the heart of the Pearl district, and that's really where everybody, you know, goes to have amazing dinners and experiences. So if you guys could talk about that, because I know there are not residence halls at the San Antonio campus, but I know that a lot of students will live, you know, somewhat close to one another and really connect. Maggie.
Yeah. So club-wise, I'm involved in Sugar Rush, which is the baking and pastry club. So we get to do a lot of fun things. We do a lot of community events. We, for example, we did a nutcracker market over Christmas, and it was basically a food. It was raising money, and we made a bunch of little verrines and passed them out and met with the community. So a lot of events like that where we'll make desserts for something. And attend these really cool things that the community has going on. So those are just some of the ways that Sugar Rush gets involved. So that's something fun club-wise that I've really enjoyed, and it gives us an opportunity to get to know people outside of our class, because you spend a lot of time with your direct class, but clubs just provide some intermingling, which is nice. So that's been really helpful for me to get involved in that. And yeah, as you mentioned, the school being right smack dab in the Pearl, I mean, the Pearl's probably everybody's favorite spot in San Antonio. Amazing restaurants, great places. I mean, after class, we'll just go grab a coffee over at Bakery Lorraine. They have great pastries and coffee. And so me and my friends will go there. We'll chat, debrief about the day, like, oh, you know, our tart overbaked or whatever, you know. So we'll kind of debrief and relax, but it's just a beautiful, beautiful spot to be, right on the river. So sometimes we will blow off some steam and walk on the river, you know, things like that. So it couldn't be in a better location, that's for sure. There's tons to do around. And I know a lot of my classmates there's student housing that is not involved with CIA, but it's student housing. I know a couple with different colleges in the area will have students live there, and a lot of students will live there at Tobin Lofts. So that's a pretty popular one. I don't know, Brian, if you're familiar with Tobin.
I am familiar. I don't live at that one. I live at this one called Brackenridge. It's really close to school. It's like 3 minutes. It takes me 3 minutes to drive to school. I can even walk up onto, but I'm still trying to get used to this Texas weather. It's just too humid for me to walk. But yeah, back to what you're saying, I pretty much do the same thing. The Pearl, one of my favorite things is go at night with a few friends from class, with the signs, big Pearl signs lit up. Everyone sits on the grass, on like the turf. Amazing. There's it's called the Food Hall, and it has like little restaurants. It's really cool. Like they have a ramen shop. I love ramen. They have like a pulled pork barbecue little thing in there, and there's this really nice brewery restaurant called the Southerly. Best fried chicken I've ever had. It's literally right next to the campus. When you guys ever come down, I highly recommend it. There's another restaurant called Botica. It's actually one of the old CIA chefs owns it now, and one of my classmates works there. And it's like a Peruvian and Japanese fusion cuisine. I ate there one time. I was like, oh my gosh, this is, if I could afford it, I'd go every day. Yeah, exactly. Yes. Amazing. But there's so much to do. Like, and there's Tobin Lofts too. So a lot of my classmates, there's like 24 people, 25 people in my class. A lot of them live there. And you'll learn, it's such a small campus. You'll hang out with all the time. Like first couple weeks, like, hey guys, you want to like go grab sushi? Hey, this is really nice taco truck. I'm like, yeah, let's go grab tacos. Like, why not? And it's hot in Texas. I don't know how many of you are from here, but I hang out at the pool literally every day. After class, I'll go to the gym, hop on the floor after, and then spend like a half hour there, and then do my homework or whatever I got to do. So there's definitely plenty of things to do for considering the Pearl campus being a commuter campus. But that's the great thing about San Antonio, compared, in my opinion, compared to New York and Napa, is that San Antonio is such a big up and coming city. There's so much to do, Like I'd be shocked if we can't find anything to do. But yeah, it's amazing. So there's plenty of things to do.
And a lot of great food. Of course, that's great from us. You know, you ask what we do for fun. We're like, what we eat. You know,
we eat, yeah.
We go get food.
We eat and like reminisce.
Like, you make me so hungry. I am, yeah, Boutique is right on the top of my list. I cannot wait to try it. So
it's amazing. Try the Southerly.
Southerly is one of my favorite spots in San Antonio.
And then
fried chicken with duck leg confit.
When you guys have your pop-up bakery, Maggie, and you're at now, Brian, when you're running the restaurant, I mean, that to me is the best food in San Antonio. But I very much am biased because I think everything that you guys make is the world's best. So a great question came in, and I'm sure you all understand this. Do you guys have time for a part-time job while in school?
I don't work right now, but I am applying jobs. It's just been hard, obviously, with COVID, but a lot of my classmates, they do have part-time jobs. Some of them work full-time, and they make it work. The school, like, depends on your chef. My chef is like, hey, if you have to leave early for work or anything and all your work's done, just tell me. So the school is very understanding. The chefs are very understanding you have a part-time job. So it's doable, definitely part-time and full-time, very doable.
Yeah, I do work. So I actually... I'll nanny when I'm not in school. So that's what I do, which is nice because that does provide flexible hours. So I have school in the morning, pick up kids in the afternoon when they're done with school. So you know, we get done by 1:30. So then you have the rest of your day. You have some schoolwork, of course. But that's why I found that something like nannying was nice, because sometimes it's not, too taxing, but just enough to keep me busy. But I definitely have time for it. And like Brian said, everybody's really understanding. There's also a couple of my friends have worked on campus, which I know is a really great opportunity as to be a student worker. There's a couple, you know, working in the storeroom. That's something that was really popular, really rigid. You know, you have your schedule and you stick to it, and that's what you'll do every day. After classes, you go work in the storeroom, for example. But I do know also they'll have an ongoing list that you can say you want to be a student worker, and they will let you know when there's something that they need you to pick up a shift here and there. There's lots of events that we do, and some of the cooking classes we do for the community, they'll have students here and there help out with that. So that's another really good working opportunity is on-campus student work jobs.
Wonderful. That's great. I'm sure there's lots of employment. It's the 7th fastest growing city in the country, or it's one of the fastest growing. It's the 7th largest. So
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people in my class, they have jobs as well as doing school.
Great. Thank you. Steve, we had a question that came in. You know, I'm super passionate about food, but I struggled in high school. Is there still a place for me at the CIA?
So I want to just make it clear that, you know, our review of our applications or our admissions criteria doesn't always necessarily put academics ahead of your passion or the other parts of your application. I like to tell students that we do a holistic review of your application. We look at your essay, we look at your letter of recommendation. If you have experience in the industry, we consider that, you know, and other factors too. So we want to know as much about you as possible. And just because you may not have had strong academics when you were in, you know, your other academic pursuits doesn't mean necessarily that you would not be able to get in the CIA. Now, I will say that at the San Antonio campus is in very high demand. So occasionally what does happen is if we have a really, really high demand for a specific entry date, you know, it does tend to get a little bit more competitive, but there are alternatives too. If, you know, if San Antonio is, you know, our enrollment is completely filled for a certain entry date, there's California, there's New York, you know, or you can push your application out to later entry dates. It's just a question of, I guess, how a person stacks up to the overall pool of students that are applying for that particular entry date. But if, you know, just bear in mind that we're not just looking at your GPA, I think is what the takeaway from that should be. You know, we're looking at your entire application in the long run.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And a couple of rapid fire questions. So Maggie, if you could just answer, what is the dress code at the CIA?
Take myself off mute. Yeah, so any sort of kitchen class, your chef whites, you can see Brian, a lovely model wearing it. And then at the start of the program, there's a lot more lecture-based classes, and so that was optional. You could wear your chef whites or business professional.
Great. And Brian, how do you keep your chef whites white?
Oh my gosh. So you get 7, I stained 2 of them, and I just fixed 1 of them. I literally got blood on mine, and I had to use bleach with like toothbrush and bleach. So they definitely, you have to keep them up to date, like wash them all the time.
Right, you don't walk into class with it stained. You have to make sure you're looking good.
Yeah.
The OxyClean Bright White helps a lot.
Yep, I've been told.
I get chocolate from head to toe.
Yep.
Like,
yeah. She every time I come to class, I come home from class, I take it off, throw it in the washer. Even if it's just one, I'm washing it with anything else because, I mean, you can see mine. It's pretty white. I still have. This is the one I think that had stuff. It was stained, like one of the 2 that was stained, and yes, you got to keep them up to date for sure, like bleach, depending on what it is, or OxyClean or anything. I had them dry clean the first week. I was like, okay, I can't afford this. So, but sometimes that won't even work. So you have to really just take your time. Like I steam mine too a little bit, so it kind of helps.
Looks good. Looks
too.
sharp.
Thank you. I tried it. My mom taught me well, I think.
But I'm sure the chef instructors, they can find like the smallest little stain. And it's so funny, Maggie, because like chocolate, when chocolate's class hits, it's just that first day of chocolate's class, you guys are head to toe in chocolate. And then Brian, when you're in fundies or fundamentals, and then for meat fabrication and fish fabrication, wow.
I had tomato sauce all over me. Like one of my teammates, it just went everywhere and it got on me. Like I was like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna get this out? But it is possible. Just hard work and dedication. You can get them clean. But yeah, I would say, so the chef, he comes by and makes sure you're in full uniform. I'm sure it's like that for pastries. Chef's like, okay, looks good. You've got everything. You got your coat, you got your pants, you got your shoes. Like you're good.
That's a toe check. Let me see your fingernails. Make sure they're short and clean.
Are your socks one color, white or black? For guys, definitely shave. Like no scruff. at all. So, but it's just fun. It teaches you a lot of restaurants, depending where you go. Like, yeah, no scruff. So it's preparing you for the future. So.
And you can, if you have a religious or medical reason, you can wear a field guard and get approved to do that. But yeah, a lot of people just decide to just shave. So that is great answers, because and I love that each of our students has their own recipe for how do they keep their chef whites white. Like some will, have
I could write a book on it.
Laundry. Some will have OxyClean 3 times. So everyone has their own distinct recipe. But again, for our viewers, you don't have to know any of this before you come to the CIA. That is our job, to get you to where you're in tip-top shape. Like, do not come with that. The only thing we need you to come to the CIA with is passion and work ethic, and willing to, and you heard it from both of our students, to have that strong work ethic, that grit and the determination. That is something, that's something that you need to bring with you. But we will give you all the skills that you need to be successful at the CIA. And just, I know we're kind of closing up on time here, but Maggie and Brian, what advice would you give to a prospective or incoming student that's just really nervous to start the CIA, as I'm sure you all were? Maggie, if you want to go first, and then Brian, and then we'll have one last question for Steve.
Yeah, I would just definitely say reach for what you're passionate about. Life is definitely too short to not do something that you love, in my opinion. I took a big leap of faith, quitting my job and coming back to school, but I haven't questioned it a second. I've loved every second of it. And that being said, when you're at school, if you do attend the CIA, which I hope you do, really take everything, like soak as much education up as you can, because the CIA has the best resources, the best faculty and instructors, and really they want to teach you. They want you to learn, and take advantage of that. You have these resources for a reason, and you chose the CIA for a reason. So really, like, make the most of it and just soak up every second. Ask questions, stay late, get there early. Really take advantage of the resources that CIA has to offer. Is my opinion.
Awesome. Brian.
Yeah, I agree with Maggie. Everything. Just, this is, I think, the best word. You want to overachieve in class. You want to show your chef. You want to be there. You have goals. They want you to succeed. They will help you as long as you're there, and you're going above and beyond. You're asking questions, and you're everything when it comes to cleaning, cooking, even just staying organized, having all your ingredients, having everything clean. They will help you, and it will be noticed. So I think that's the most important thing from day one till you finish, because this curriculum is preparing you for the rest of your life. These next 19 months dictate how the rest of your life will go, for example, in the industry. So go above and beyond, and impress your chefs. Like, work well with people too. I think that's a big one too. I've seen some people like, they're not really helping out. No one was ever successful on their own. It was always a team effort, in my opinion. So just go above and beyond, impress your chefs, and do what you got to do to succeed. And that's pretty much it.
Well said. And
Allison, there's one thing I could add to that, because I've heard this piece of advice from other students, is go to the career fairs. Even if you're not looking at an internship, even if you're years away, like if you're just starting out and you're not really sure like where your career in the food industry is going to wind up, go to the career fairs and talk to the recruiters. Find out what kind of positions they have open. Talk to them about like what their industry looks like, what the future of what they're doing is going to look like, because you're going to be out on your own in 2 years, like ready and raring to go. And the more you educate yourself about what the marketplace looks like after you graduate, the better positioned you will be to take the job that you want, as opposed to the job that's left by the time you get there. You want to be proactive about that. You want to go after the things that you want, just like Brian and Margaret said, like be proactive about everything while you're here. Yeah.
That's awesome advice. And just Steve, for students who still have a lot of questions, what's the next step? What do they do now?
So your next step is to, if you're seriously interested, is to fill out the application. For those of you who joined us today, we're going to follow up with an email. We'll send you a code that waives the application fee if you're interested in submitting your application, just as a way to say thank you for joining us today. But that's where you start. As soon as you start your application, you become connected with an admissions counselor. So I will, or Allison will, or one of our other staff members will be reaching out to you to say, okay, we see that you started your application or that you submitted your application. Here's what you need to do next. Here's your next steps. And just remember that we're here every step of the way. So if you have questions, if you're hesitant about starting your application, send me an email. I'm happy to have a virtual counseling session with you. You can book a virtual counseling session by, there's a link in my email signature that says book an appointment. Set up a virtual counseling session if you want to get some one-on-one time, if you have some questions that you maybe were not ready to ask in a group setting or something like that. We're here to help. So those are really your next steps. That's what's next. Is start your application. It doesn't obligate you to anything. If you came here today, clearly there's some interest here. You owe it to yourself to give it a shot. So just because you fill out an application doesn't mean you have to come to CIA, but you can't get here without starting it. So that's where I think you want to begin.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, that is all the time we have today. Thank you all so much for joining us. And of course, thank you to our presenter, Steve, and as well as our wonderful students, Maggie and Brian. We're so very proud of them. We appreciate all of your questions. If we weren't able to answer all of your questions, we will contact you after this session. A recorded copy of an information session, this information session will be found on our website. So again, thank you for attending today, and we look forward to welcoming you to our beautiful campus in the very near future. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks for coming, guys.